on relationship coaching. So it helps to realize that if we're looking to fix a relationship, that we can't fix a relationship till we fix ourselves. But if fix means that something's broken, then maybe we're starting from the wrong spot. Because if we can consider that everything is always perfect the way it is, which is a concept that's hard for many people to accept or try or to digest. But when we realize that if we start from a place of everything being perfect as it is, then we can grow from there. But if we start from a place where everything is broken, then we're looking at the world from a place of stress, of worry, of anxiety. There's no inner peace. So the first place when we're trying to fix ourselves is to find a place where we're at peace. And if we can't find that place, then how are we ever going to bring peace into a relationship? Because on stress and anxiety, we're never going to build a relationship that's going to work. So if it's peace and happiness that's required to create a relationship with peace and happiness, then where do we find peace? And so that all starts with seeing everything as being perfect as it is. So what does that mean? So a lot of people will say, well, what about all the children? What about the wars? What about... And what I suggest is rather than starting at the most difficult and impossible place to start to try to understand something, start with a very basic concept of it and go only as far as what your spirit guides you. So for example, when you can test out how do I feel when I see the world as being perfect as it is, then I realize I feel at peace, I feel calm. And the instant when I switch over to that everything is broken and nothing is in balance and nothing is working, then I feel immediately a change over to stress. So if I want to be in that space of peace and happiness, because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to create a relationship that works. And a relationship that works has to be built on peace and happiness. It can't be built on stress. So from that perspective, as we're looking forward to what the foundation is to build on, so when we see the world as everything being perfect as it is, so now what's the next step? Okay, so know what we want, and how do we get to know what we want so that we can go into a relationship knowing what we want? Because if we go into a relationship not knowing what we want, then we're just going to be confused. And if you have two people that don't know what they want, then they're both confused. And all that's going to happen is they're going to spend their time figuring out what they want, eventually to come to a realization that they may be wanting different things. And so the relationship's never going to work because they're right from the get-go, they never were in alignment. So how does a person figure out what they want so that they can actually go into a relationship with the anticipation that it's going to work? So you've heard the expression of you have to find your why. Well, that all sounds good, but how do you actually do that? So in life, there's the 24 life ingredients, one of which is the natural thought process. And the way the natural thought process works is that we observe things, our observations lead us to negative and positive inspirations. As we observe our inspirations, so we're seeing something, how are we inspired by that? And then as we see the negative inspirations, so for example, there'll be things about relationships, things about people that we don't like, things, and if we go crashing into that, then we're going to be stressed. But if we use those negative observations as the curbs on a highway, like curbs on a roadway, as guidance, they guide us, but we don't go crashing into them, then we, instead of looking at the negative side of what we don't like, we start to go back to the positive of what do we like. So do we like the conversations? Do we like the time together? Do we like the having meals together? Do we like embracing people? What is it that we like about relationships? What is it that we want? What is it we see as the future for our relationships? It has to do with family, kids, grandkids, greater family circle, a greater circle of friends. But whatever it is that we feel that we want, and that's the key word in everything, is how do we feel about it? So do we feel inspired? Do we feel happy? Do we feel at peace? And then when we let our feelings guide us, that's what they're there for, then we can create the kind of life that we love. So as we observe the more that we observe, the more inspired we become, the more we use the inspirations we have to guide us, then we get to the point where we reach an unstoppable inspiration. And at that point, then we're really ready to be able to be involved in a relationship where we're inspired to create something beautiful together with somebody else. And so that gives us a starting point. Now, we can't make other people do things. People do things because they observe, and they'll do what they like from what they observe, what inspires them. So the best that we can be for anybody, so let's say that we're in a relationship and the relationship's not working, but we want it to work. Well, when we come back to that point of fixing ourselves first, well, this is what this is all about, is once we've aligned ourselves, align is a better word than fix. Once we've aligned ourselves with what we want in life, and now we're at peace and we're happy, then people are going to look at us and say, well, I want that, because that person looks at peace with themselves. They seem fulfilled. They seem like they have things in life that are working for them. And so that causes the person to say, well, what is it that you're doing? Why is it that your life is working? And all that's happened is that you've started from a place where you're looking at, you've tested that everything is perfect as it is. And then from that space, then you're at peace. And now you can start to look forward. Using all the 24 life ingredients that we're all born with, we can say, okay, what do I see in this world? What do I like? I can look at old things, new ways. I can look at new things, but I have to observe. And the more that I observe, the more that I'll feel about what I like and what I don't like. And the more I make conscious decisions about what I like and I don't like, the closer I get to my why, to that unstoppable inspiration about this is what I want in my life. And so as we do that, then we change from being confused and out of alignment with many things. We come into alignment with what we want from our life. So essentially, like if you're, the language that I'll use for our more advanced coaching students is that we're going from, we're creating a spiritual reality that becomes our physical reality. That's happening all day long anyways, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. But what that means is that we're taking all our thoughts, our thinking, we're taking our, we're understanding our conscious, our subconscious, we're understanding our feelings, and all of that, all the spiritual aspect of this spiritual physical life happens before the physical reality. Everything that happens, like we have a job, we have a relationship, we have everything we have physically in life because we first thought about it. We had thoughts about, oh, I'd like to buy a car, I'd like to be in a relationship, I'd like to eat that, I'd like to see that, I'd like to do that. And all those thoughts lead to eventually becoming our physical reality. And I say eventually can be in a matter of a split second, or it can be weeks and years down in the making. But as we create our spiritual reality, then that becomes our physical reality. And it's not that in a block, it's in an ever-evolving circle. So as we're thinking and doing and sleeping and eating and everything we're doing, and our spiritual reality is developing from every observation, like observation by all of our senses, and then that is constantly revolving into our physical reality. Now, if we're unhappy with our physical reality, all that's happened is that we've gone and left our spiritual reality on autopilot. So we keep thinking the same things over and over, and we keep doing the same things over and over, and we keep acting the same way over and over, and then our reality just becomes this maddening circle of the same thing over and over, and we're unhappy with it. But because we don't know how to change it, then we don't change our spiritual reality, and therefore our physical reality remains the way it is. So if you'd like to learn more about this, a good place to start is with the self-test at mylifesoup.com. And with that, there's also the opportunity to get a 20-minute free life coaching session. And for those who want more advanced, we have 3 6-month, 1-year coaching sessions that people use to really grow rapidly in this. And then from there, there's many people that want to be able to help other people. So they'll look at our Earn While You Learn coach training experience, which is about a 12-month program, and it has a variety of entry levels. But where some people will be becoming a coach while they're being coached, so they're getting the double benefit of while they grow themselves, they're also understanding, okay, how does this apply when I'm coaching other people with this later on? So they're connecting a lot of dots on both sides, like how is this as a client, how is this as a coach? And then they have the advantage of really developing quickly in the whole 24 Life ingredients. So until we meet again, I'm John Verway, and I look forward to meeting with you.